Hello everyone, I'm Devika and welcome to our channel, The Assorted Bag.
Please subscribe and turn on the bell icon for notifications.
So in today's video, we shall look at academic writing. So over the last couple of weeks, we have been looking into various aspects of content writing. So if you all haven't checked out those videos yet, I'll leave a description of them, or I'll leave a link of them in the description box and you all can go and check them out. For today, we shall focus on a subcategory of content writing, which is academic writing. Something quite important and something that maybe the people who have a good hold on certain subjects, or you have mastered certain subjects, you have a technical background, or you have good subject matter expertise, then academic writing can definitely be a great career option for you. Do know that it is arising in demand, and over the couple of years it has gained a lot of popularity. So academic writing is basically one of the most, or by far the most well paid job when it comes to content writing as a career. So in today's video, we shall look at the basics of content writing, or in particular academic writing. So I shall give you a brief walkthrough, an overview. If you're just beginning to get into this field of academic writing and want to know how an academic write-up should be structured, or how you should be creating an academic article, then today's video will definitely be helpful. I'll guide you over the basics of academic writing, and there are several aspects to academic writing. For today, we'll just touch on the basics, and maybe in the future videos we can look at each of these elements in detail. So to begin with, what is academic writing? Well, when we talk about any academic work, say related to a college or a university, so those are part of academic writing. Academic writing involves anything that is read by teachers or professors or researchers, or even those like papers or manuscripts that are sent for to these journals or publications. Academic work or academic writing can be anything that is dealt with or presented in seminars and conferences. So everything that is scholarly or research based can be termed as an academic write-up. Now the next thing to know here is how you can benefit as an academic writer. Well, most of these e-learning companies do hire academic writers because there's been a rise in demand where people or researchers do come forth with their theories and proposals or ideas, and they want to get it formulated and structured in a proper paper or a thesis or a manuscript. So that's where academic writers play a very crucial role. And if you hold expertise on any particular subject, you can definitely go a long way in this particular career. So as an academic writer, it's very important how you present your write-up. So your write-up needs to be concise. Your write-up needs to make use of simple words. Do not use complex or complicated words. The target reader might not be able to understand it. Always use concise, short sentences. Follow a logical presentation. So your write-up needs to be structured so that there's a logical flow between the ideas. Always follow a formal tone. Finally, every academic write-up should be backed up by a lot of evidence. Having evidence shows that you have researched your work, or that you have a good understanding on the subject. So these are the topmost tips that you need to follow when writing an academic article or an academic paper. So let's look at some of these tips in detail.
So let's look at these tips. So the first one is making use of active voice. So when you're starting to write your academic work, always ensure, or at least try to ensure 70% of your document is written in active voice. Avoid passive voice as much as possible. Making use of active voice ensures that your write-up is understood well by the target reader. So active voice is the preferred option and style. So do go by this tip. The next tip is avoiding complex or complicated vocabulary. So as I already mentioned, we need to make use of simple words so that the target reader can easily understand. Making use of complex words does not make our write-up look sophisticated or highly researched. Our write-up or our manuscript should be something that is targeted to the masses and should be readily available to be read by any common person. So if you make use of simple words and avoid complex words, it can be understood easily by everybody. So always ensure that you make use of simple and easily understandable words. The third tip is making use of short sentences. Long sentences can get very complex and comprehending what it actually means can be difficult. So always ensure that you have short sentences, maybe a sentence that is 7 to 8 words or 10 words to be, the maximum length. Avoid having long sentences because it hinders the structure of the paragraphs. Short sentences are what you should be aiming at. Next, we have following a logical or things in your head which you want to put it out on the manuscript or the paper that you're writing, but always having a logical, conceptual nature to it will ensure that your audience connects and is able to understand what you're trying to mean. So finally, providing evidence. Evidence always ensures that your write-up, gives value to whatever concept it's stating. So when a reader looks at evidences, he or she is sure that you have researched the topic well, or there is a lot of background information that you have, dealt with before coming out with your theories or proposals. So evidence is definitely important and essential for any academic write-up. Next, we shall look at something called as signaling words. So every academic write-up is different from a general content or a general article that is written, and it is something that needs to lay emphasis on your ideas or your viewpoints. So there's something called as signaling words that you can make use of to lay emphasis or let the catch the reader's attention. So for cases such as wherein you want to add more information, say you have already stated a concept and you want to add the following sentence should be adding more information to the already stated sentence, then you can always begin your sentence with furthermore or additionally. So making use of these words adds weight to your content. For situations where you want to state contrasting viewpoints, you can always begin it with however, in contrast, or yet. When trying to show reflecting sequence, or when you're mentioning something in a chronological order, you can always make use of words like firstly, secondly, initially, or finally. When we have something wherein we want to lay a lot of emphasis, we can make use of words like particularly or significantly. When we are comparing 2 points, again words like similarly or in comparison to or in comparison with. So such words can always give emphasis to whatever you're trying to state. Next, we have when we wish to show effect, that is something has resulted due to some occurrence. We can always begin the sentence with therefore or consequently. There's something called as report writing, which is also a very essential part of academic writing. So report writing is something that might extend beyond say 10 pages, or it can go up to 50 pages. So it's just a report of whatever experiment or discovery that has been made. So a report needs to be structured. So it has to have an introduction, a main body, and conclusion, references. So it's a whole lot. So let's look at some of these structures or elements that a report should have. Structuring your report, you always begin with your introduction. So an introduction is something that states the aim or the goal of your study or what your paper is dealing with. Introduction can also, touch upon the related work or background information. So introduction should briefly state what the following paragraphs or the following, main body and etc. of the article or your manuscript would actually convey to the reader. Next is the main body. So this is where much of the information of your research work goes into. So your main body always tells the reader what the study was, what came out of it, and what it can, give value to the reader's understanding. After the main body, you have the conclusion. So conclusion should be a summation of whatever you have stated in the introduction. So it shouldn't repeat what's already mentioned in the introduction, but instead it should try to join the strings and bring the whole study to conclusion and state what the outcome or the final result or whatever you wish to, whatever you wanted to communicate to the reader, whether it was successfully formulated or accomplished or not. So conclusion can also include something called as future work. So say your study has certain limitations, you can always state that in the conclusion and leave, some kind of room for future enhancement where those limitations can be overcome. Following the conclusion, you'll have the acknowledgement. So you might have been funded by university or you might have used other researchers' help. So whatever you wish to acknowledge goes into this particular section. Finally, we have the references. This is where all your evidence or your citations, everything, whatever you have referred to, conduct your study goes into the references section. And as I said, the main body is the ideal part where your entire study of or your proposal is stated. So the main body should again be broken down into the materials or the methods that are being used for the study. Following this, you'll have the experimental structure, the experimental outline or whatever steps were conducted to accomplish your goal. Finally, we have the results section where you state whether the experiment was successful and whatever output or outcome was obtained through the experiments. Finally, we have a discussion stage where the author puts across his or her viewpoint, ideas, and what they have understood through the study and wish the reader to understand.
So finally, when you have your report ready, do not forget the abstract. The abstract is also an essential aspect of the report that goes before your introduction. So ideally, you have your title. Few journals might also ask you to have a short or running title. So after your title, you might have a short running title, then the author affiliations, then you have the abstract, the keywords, and then you follow the introduction, main body, conclusion, acknowledgement, references. Few might also ask you to give, these kind of conflict of interest details or funding details, so you might need to include those as well. And always ensure that you make use of ample paragraphs. Paragraphs allows, this line of reasoning for the target reader. So do not miss out on having as many paragraphs as you want to break down your whatever theories you want to state. The final thing is about evidence. Evidence, as I mentioned earlier, is an important part which allows the reader to believe whatever you're stating or believe your ideas. So when you're having evidence, it means referring an already authorized or published work. So when giving references, we make use of something called as in-text citations. We have references at the end of the article or your end of your manuscript, and whenever we have references to those, we make use of in-text citations to refer them. So the basic idea behind stating other people's work or how you can make use of evidence is through three ways. You can either directly quote, you can paraphrase, you can summarize. So these are the three aspects how you can give references for all these evidence. Few of our viewers had requested us to touch upon in-text citations and references. I'm sorry that I'm not including that in today's video. That's because that in itself is a heavy topic. Although short, in-text citations and references needs a very good understanding. So I have left it for a future video which shall be up this week for sure. So do keep following our channel and you shall be notified of that video very soon. So that video would talk about in-text citations, the styles that we follow, how you can refer to it, or how the references should be structured, what is the meaning of quoting or paraphrasing or summarizing evidences. So all of that will be dealt with in a sole video focusing on in-text citations and references. So today's was a wrap on the basics of academic writing. I hope you are clear on how an academic write-up should be structured, or for people who have subject expertise, please do approach e-learning companies and you can find a good academic writer role. And the growth is pretty good considering it's in great demand in the current scenario. So I hope today's video was useful. Please leave in a comment sections if you've liked or not liked any particular part of it, or if you have any queries in particular, do hit the thumbs up if you've liked the video, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon if you haven't done that already. I shall see you in our next video then. Till then, thank you for watching and take care. Bye bye.